Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to recap the story of the movie Tangled from 2010. One fine day, a ray of sunshine fell from the sky and hit the earth, and a golden flower was born on the ground. Years later, a kingdom was created very close by. The queen was pregnant, but her life was at risk because she had become very ill, which required a miracle to cure her. Everyone thought of the golden flower, which was known for its magic. However, Mrs. Gothel kept the plant hidden for several years as she used its powers to grow younger. The royal soldiers found the flower and its magic cured the queen. Thus, a beautiful golden-haired princess was born. To celebrate Rapunzel's birth, the king and queen launched a lantern that lights up the night sky. One dark night, Gothel goes to the princess's room and cuts her hair, but the lock loses its magic. In this way, the witch realizes that she must take the child with her. So the woman captures her in order to use the power to rejuvenate her skin forever. Gothel keeps the princess hidden in a tower in the middle of the forest and raises her as her daughter. The girl is forbidden to leave the place because her mother claims that the world is too dangerous. Every year on her birthday, the princess observes dozens of lanterns being launched into the sky by people to attract the attention of their lost daughter. After a few years, Rapunzel grew up and her hair grew even more as it was never cut. She cleans the house while handling her hair and uses it to make paintings on the wall. In the kingdom's castle, 3 men climb onto the roof and jump from one side to the other in order to lose the Majesty's guards. Flynn Rider tells his companions that he wants his own castle. The man is then thrown into the palace, hanging by a rope in the main hall. The guy steals the princess's tiara and the guards barely notice him. When they see him, it's too late because he's no longer inside the palace. At the same time, Rapunzel throws her hair so that her mother can climb the tower where they live. She scales the girl's hair like a rope. Gothel only thinks about herself and doesn't pay attention to the things the girl tells her. Rapunzel tries to tell her that the next day will be special for her, as it's her birthday, but the witch only cares about her own beauty and never stops looking in the mirror. The princess wants to see the floating lights up close as a present for her birthday. What's more, she says that the bright spots aren't stars because she's mapped them all and only a few appear every day and can be considered stars. The rest only appear on her birthday. The woman then closes the windows of the house to prevent her daughter from looking at the sky and denies her request. Gothel tells her daughter never to ask to leave the tower again, so she leaves and goes away. In the forest, Ryder and his friends flee from the guards who are getting closer and closer. They reach an end, but the Stabbington twins will only help Ryder up the gorge if he gives them the backpack with the treasure. Flynn climbs but steals the men's bags and leaves them in the abyss. However, the knights of the kingdom catch up with him and shoot arrows at him. Flynn uses a vine to get around a tree and knocks down one of the guards with one blow, getting back on his horse. The animal, called Maximus, tries to catch the bag with its mouth, causing the object to be thrown onto a branch near the cliff. Flynn and Maximus fight to see who can reach the bag first, and Flynn ends up upside down on the branch. The horse tries to knock him down by galloping up the tree. They reach the end of the branch, which breaks, and they fall into the giant abyss. After falling to the ground, Flynn tries to hide from Maximus. He enters a cave behind the bushes, which leads to Rapunzel's tower, unaware that the place is inhabited. The thief climbs up, and Rapunzel strikes him with a pot, causing him to faint. She then pushes him into the closet and props up a chair to close the door. Rapunzel notices there is a crown inside her prisoner's bag and puts it on her head. The princess is interrupted when her mother shouts from outside and Gothel asks her daughter to throw her hair. Rapunzel tries to tell Gothel that she managed to arrest a man by herself, which means she can protect herself outside the tower. But Gothel is furious and says Rapunzel will never leave. The witch leaves the house and will return after 3 days. Rapunzel slowly opens the closet door, and the prisoner falls to the floor. The chameleon tries to wake him up until he puts his tongue in Flynn's ear, and the man wakes up startled. Flynn tries to explain, but realizes the girl has hidden his backpack. She makes him faint with a blow to the head again. After Flynn wakes up, Rapunzel proposes a deal. He must escort her to the place where the lanterns are released. In return she will return his backpack. Flynn denies the request, as he is wanted by the king's guards, but he finally agrees to help her get to the village. Flynn descends the walls of the tower, and the princess uses her hair as a rope. Rapunzel is amazed by nature outside for the first time. Gothel remembers her daughter and runs back to the tower. When she gets home, she asks Rapunzel to throw her hair but receives no response. Gothel despairs, goes to a secret passage, and finds the crown of the lost princess inside a bag, along with a wanted poster for Ryder. At the same time, Flynn takes the princess to a restaurant full of criminals. The Vikings realize Flynn is wanted and have a bounty on his head. Every man in the bar is interested in capturing Flynn. Rapunzel uses her hair to pull a branch from the wall and uses it to strike a bandit who was about to attack Flynn. She begs them to let him go, and one of the men changes his mind, believing Rapunzel should pursue her dream. Suddenly, the queen's guards burst into the restaurant looking for Flynn. He quickly hides, and one of the bandits helps them escape through a secret tunnel. Maximus enters the bar and begins to sniff out the fugitive. Stabbington brothers escape after knocking out a guard. Gothel waits outside and threatens a drunken man, asking where the secret tunnel leads. In the basement,
Flynn wonders why Rapunzel never went out to see the lanterns before.
Suddenly, the couple are interrupted by dozens of guards chasing them.
The two run and reach the end of the tunnel that leads to a mine. They are surrounded by bandits and the kingdom's knights.
Rapunzel throws her hair and jumps onto another rock while Flynn fights the guards with a frying pan. Maximus uses a sword to attack Flynn and he loses the pot, which falls into the abyss.
Rapunzel throws her hair and manages to catch Flynn.
He jumps and falls towards the twins, but the girl pulls him up before he is hit. Maximus makes a bridge with wood and is about to capture her, but Rapunzel jumps to the other side in time.
Flynn goes down a water slide and they escape just as the dam breaks. The water destroys everything in its path.
A giant boulder is aimed at the couple, but they get into one of the mine's passages. The cave quickly begins to fill with water. Flynn and Rapunzel try to open a way out before they're completely buried, but it's too dark and the man can't find a way out, so they accept defeat. Soon after, Flynn confesses that his real name is Eugene Fitzherbert, and Rapunzel admits that her magical hair starts to shine when she sings. Faced with this situation, the princess uses her magic, and her hair lights up like a lantern. This way, Flynn can see under the water, and they remove the stones from one of the walls, reaching the exit of the flooded cave.
While hiding in the forest, Gothel meets the Stabbington brothers.
The woman decides to make them an offer. She gives them the crown and tells them there are many more treasures where the tiara came from, and that they can take revenge on Flynn if they obey her orders. Elsewhere in the forest, Rapunzel wraps her hair around Flynn's wounded hand. She begins to sing, and a glow appears in her strands. Flynn realizes his hand is healed and is terrified but pretends to be curious about the magic. When Rapunzel was little, people tried to cut her hair to get the spell, and when they did, her hair turned brown and lost its magic. Faced with this situation, her mother decided to hide her gift so the girl never left the tower. Flynn says his story is boring as he was an orphan abandoned by his parents, so he had to live alone in the world.
Flynn then leaves Rapunzel alone for a second, and Gothel emerges from the woods, wanting to take Rapunzel back home.
The girl refuses to leave because she believes Flynn loves her. The woman says there's no reason for him to like her, since Rapunzel isn't even pretty, and Flynn is only interested in the crown. After retrieving the object, he will leave Rapunzel alone.
Gothel gives Rapunzel the tiara to give to Flynn, but the girl hides the crown.
When Flynn returns the next day, Maximus finds him unconscious in the forest and tries to capture him by pulling him up by his legs.
Rapunzel pulls Maximus back, stands between them, and doesn't let the animal attack Flynn.
She manages to train Maximus, who wags his tail at her like a dog. The young woman asks the horse to make up with Flynn, at least for that day, because it's her birthday, the most important day of her life. Shortly afterward, they arrive in the village, where Rapunzel is frightened because her hair gets in the way of people. Some children braid her hair, and she is able to walk normally.
Rapunzel observes other young women putting things on an altar for the king's lost daughter.
On the altar is a photo of the king, queen, and little girl, which intrigues her. After dark, Flynn and Rapunzel travel by boat to the outskirts of the village. The girl confesses she is frightened because, although she has always dreamed of this moment, she's afraid of being disappointed now that the day has come. The king and queen release the first lantern, and the village lights up with hundreds of other lights.
The Stabbington twins are on the riverbank waiting for the couple.
They return to dry land, and Flynn takes the crown, asking Rapunzel to wait for him. He takes it to the mercenaries, but they no longer want the tiara. Instead, they want the power of the young princess. Rapunzel waits for Flynn, but the two criminals appear and point to the sea where the boat leaves the scene.
Rapunzel realizes Flynn has left her alone.
Unaware of the trap set by the brothers, Rapunzel tries to run away from the lunatics, but her hair gets tangled in a branch. A sound of fighting draws the princess's attention, and she realizes someone has defeated the enemies.
The young girl finds Gothel and returns to her evil mother's arms.
Flynn arrives on the other side tied to the boat with the crown in his hand. The guards capture him, and Maximus, who was hiding nearby, observes the scene and realizes something bad has happened. Back at the tower, Rapunzel notices several suns in the drawings in her room, just like the paintings in the village. This causes her to remember when she was a baby and the king and queen were looking at her. She realizes that she is the lost princess. The girl questions her mother about her origin and realizes the woman has been deceiving her all this time.
She decides never to help Gothel again.
In the kingdom's prison, Flynn outwits the guards and asks the Stabbington brothers how they found out about Rapunzel's power.
They confess it was Gothel who told them.
In the corridors of the castle, Flynn is about to be sentenced when suddenly all the doors lock. The old man from the Viking restaurant appears at the window. A hook catches two guards standing next to Flynn. One is knocked out by a thug using a frying pan.
Suddenly, dozens of soldiers appear and chase Flynn, but they are interrupted by a mime.
The mime time distracts the guards until one of the thieves knocks them all down at once. Flynn and the Vikings flee to the courtyard full of soldiers. One of the men catapults a wagon, throwing Flynn up to the top of the wall where he falls on top of Maximus. The horse runs while guards shoot arrows, and it jumps off the castle onto a roof. Maximus crosses the bridge in the forest, quickly arriving at Rapunzel's tower. Flynn asks Rapunzel to throw her hair. For a moment, she hesitates. He uses the strands to climb up to the bedroom where he finds Gothel. The princess tries to fight back but promises to obey Gothel if she lets her save Flynn's life. Rapunzel grabs Flynn's face, and before she can heal him, Flynn cuts off her hair in a single movement. Her hair turns from gold to brown, and Gothel instantly ages. The witch goes mad and falls from the tower. The lack of magic turns her body to ash. Rapunzel becomes desperate because Flynn could lose his life. She tries to sing to save him but realizes nothing happens, and he faints. She continues to sing, and tears fall on Flynn's face. The tears are absorbed into his skin, and the wound on his belly begins to glow. Suddenly, light shines from him, and the wound heals, causing him to wake up. Rapunzel returns to the castle and is reunited with her parents. Seeing her, they realize she is their lost daughter and embrace her. The kingdom goes wild, and even the Vikings realize their dreams. Maximus manages to arrest most of the kingdom's bandits. Flynn goes back to using his real name and stops robbing people in the village. A few years later, Rapunzel and Flynn get married and live happily in the castle. We hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.